of the Lebanon Community School Corporation Board of Trustees for the purpose of holding a public hearing to discuss objections and support regarding the 2025 improvement projects, which includes renovations of and improvements to Lebanon High School, Central Elementary School, and construction of a possible student activity center, improvements to the school facilities, including site and energy efficiency improvements, and the purchase of equipment, buses, and technology. With that, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Trey, could you?
I can, yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They switched them on us.
Yes, they did.
Yes. And next we have roll call. All members are present. Mission statement. Ms. Hutchison, if you could read the mission statement, that'd be excellent.
Lebanon Community School Corporation challenges everyone every day to a new best.
Thank you very much. Now we have a swearing in of our newest member. So Dr. Millman is going to do
Mr.
that.
Bertrand, come
Mr.
over
Bertrand.
here and we'll administer the oath. That's good right there. Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Toby Bertrand,
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the State of Indiana.
and the State of Indiana.
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
I will faithfully execute the duties of my office
as a member of this governing body,
as a member of this governing body,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome aboard. Now we will go ahead and open up the public hearing officially to discuss objections and support regarding the 2025 improvement projects. Mr. Dennis, if you want to take it on from here.
Thank you, Mr. Parks, and good afternoon, everyone. This hearing is one of two hearings that is mandated by state law when a school corporation desires to issue bonds or enter into a lease to perform improvements or additions within the district. This hearing was advertised appropriately according to state law in the Lebanon Reporter on June 27th of last month. There will be no action at this meeting. We will have a very similar meeting at the beginning of our regular school board meeting a week from tonight. And in that case, then resolutions will be up for consideration by the board, as that will be truthfully the only difference between the hearing tonight and the hearing next Tuesday. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the projects, share the intended utilization of the funds, how they will be financed, and just a general overview of the project and financing. So largely the project was described at the June 4th working session board in your packet this evening. You have the exact same slides that were presented at the working session on June 4th. One addition that Mr. Hendricks was able to flag was the addition of an additional point of egress from the cafeteria. That was an oversight, as the intention was always to have a point of egress there, as it aligns with an existing hallway right there and architecturally makes sense. So I did want to point out that was added.
Here in high school.
The high school cafeteria, yes, the high school cafeteria. So this project, and when we say project, a lot of times it's easy to think of it as a singular project. A project in this context describes how the utilization of funds will take place. It encompasses two sites within the district. The high school and the current Central Elementary can be confusing. We have a new Central Elementary being constructed. This involves the district's further utilization and planned continuing utilization of the existing Central Elementary, as the district has a use for the soon-to-be vacated Central Elementary moving forward. Briefly, a description of the projects. We'll start with the high school. First, as we mentioned earlier, cafeteria would be to renovate and expand that cafeteria to allow for more students to eat lunch within a cafeteria with the growing student population. We are soon embarking in not too many years in the distant future where 4 lunch periods would be required as opposed to 3. When that happens, the scheduling of a high school begins to have students eating very early in the 10 o'clock hour and could extend well into the noon hour and potentially even ending in the 1 o'clock hour should 4 be necessary. Additionally, the media center will be renovated. The current media center, it looks very much like a library, and media centers aren't looking like that in education anymore. And so we are going to renovate that to foster more collaborative learning environment as well as offer innovative learning opportunities for collaboration with many students within any given class period. Renovating the administrative offices allows for more I'll say efficient flow of students within the student services departments in the administrative offices, but probably most importantly, moving our SRO to the front of the building and in fact giving them a doorway directly into the entry vestibule, so our SRO presence is obvious as soon as we walk into the building. Freshen up the locker rooms, which includes fixtures and paint, adding additional locker room space, as well as the construction of a student activity center, which will focus or feature a lot of opportunities for all of our extracurriculars, including band. Color Guard, as we know, our Color Guard and Winter Guard march down to Perryworth Elementary currently in the wintertime because the available gym space, or there is a lack of available gym space for Color Guard, as well as the preparation that those practices take due to the throwing of implements and should they be dropped, the denting of a hardwood floor. And so the Student Activity Center features 3 basketball courts, one of which is wooden, but the other 2 are a rubberized surface that will be, of course, resilient to anything that may be dropped. The project at Central Elementary is going to feature, struggle to find the word for what a preschool does for the school district. Not a lot of opportunities for early childhood education within our school boundaries currently. Central Elementary currently is a school for young people, and so it makes sense that with a freshening up, a light renovation of the K-1-2 side of Central Elementary, we afford ourselves an opportunity to provide early education services to students, which we know there is no better indicator of a student's performance as they work their way through school than a head start with preschool. And so a renovation of the K-1-2 side, as those rooms are already specifically designed for students of that size, but renovating those spaces, light renovation to the front office to include a meeting space, making Central Elementary eventually the site of our developmental preschool. So right now our developmental preschool is scheduled to move to the new Central Elementary, but this preschool offers us the ability to combine together preschool with developmental preschool, and with that comes meetings with parents, IEP meetings, case conferences, things like that. Currently no space at Central Elementary for that. As well as refreshing the cafeteria. Right now, Central Elementary is a satellite campus. We have to make food to bring to Central Elementary because there's not a kitchen there. There is some equipment now that exists that are beyond warming ovens. They're called cook and hold ovens that can actually heat to 350 degrees. So you could actually prepare food there now. And again, that all would reside with the preschool. So approximately 65% of the square footage of Central Elementary stays an educational facility, preschool in this case. The other side changes to administrative offices. Our district central office right now has no open spaces available. We have currently 3 district administrators, about to be 4 with the addition of an assistant director of child nutrition that are placed not strategically throughout the district, but rather just wherever there is space available. Our director, Chad Salzman, our director of exceptional learning, is currently residing in a closet in the middle school, and that's not an exaggeration. That's a district employee. Certainly makes sense for him to be with the rest of district employees, but we simply don't have the space at our current facility. And so renovating the other half of, I shouldn't say the other half of Central, the other 35% of Central Elementary, including converting the library there, the media center there, into a one-of-a-kind meeting room space that the district does not currently have. Features full video conferencing and an ability for about 85 people to gather for professional development or anything else that may take place. And of course, the community. And then I'd be remiss if I stated, or if I'd failed to state, the general utilization of these dollars that we do from debt service on an annual basis. It's not possible with the current funding to purchase school buses out of the operations fund. School bus now is over $150,000 per bus, and we replace 5 buses per year. And obviously the math on that extends close to $700,000. Our current operations fund levy is just over $7 million, and so we can't dedicate a tenth of our levy to that. And so we, along with many school districts across the state, utilize debt each year to purchase school buses, and we have 5 to purchase for 2025, and that would come from here as well. Obviously, or I shouldn't say obviously, but additionally, a maintenance vehicle. We have a fleet management program for our maintenance vehicle that I shared with the board previously, and the current state of a lot of our maintenance vehicles. Not switching those all out at once, but rather one at a time, kind of attacking those that are in the worst shape first. And so each year we do replace one of those. No roofs, but normally we do have roofs in a given year. No roofs for 2025. However, we do have some building envelope or wall work to do, whether it's precast caulking, things like that, just general maintenance that are larger projects. And debt service makes it a little easier to support that. And then lastly, parking lots. Parking lots do actually, in this case, have to do with the 2 sites where the projects will take place. Our student lot is up for replacement's the wrong word, but mill overlay, perhaps some full depth repair in spots. As with the rain today, we can see water pooling in spots, and that obviously is the slow ruin of a parking lot. Also, our bus lot here is at the end of its useful life. Site repairs at Central Elementary include reconfiguring the parking lot at Central. Right now, 52 parking spots exist at Central Elementary, with a preschool, administrative offices, and the potential for 85 people in a meeting room. Leaving 52 parking spots there is not proper planning. We can change that parking lot configuration to yield 81 or 82 parking spots out front, and then the playground out back, with there not being K through 5 students there anymore. The K through 5 playground will be converted to space for everyday parking for the administrative offices. There will still be a playground for preschool kiddos. There are 2 playgrounds there right now. One for preschool age students, and then the one for the K through 5 students. So the one for pre-K students remains. So that's a description of the project. The financing terms, the overall authorization here is for $65 million. That would be the all-in amount. I've shared with the board that in recent years, with interest rates where they are, no longer is it prudent to issue an entire deal at once. So I share that we have to name our high water mark this evening, which is $65 million. The project can't exceed, when it's done, more than $65 million. But the plan is not to issue $65 million in year one. Likely 2 issuances on this, maybe an issuance of $8 to $10 million this year for cash flow to get going. And then once we receive bids, additional financings, again, probably just 1 with the length of these projects, but maybe 2 additional financings. Again, this has been an interesting way and a refreshing way to execute projects because it gives us the ability to get our bids in and make sure that we only issue the amount that we truly need. As I've shared with the board in the past, interest rates have been so low that school corporations have executed the full deal on day one, the full, in this case, full $65 million on day one. And then when we receive bids that are favorable, perhaps, you find yourself in a spot where you got to spend it all somehow. In this case, it's a more financially responsible way of doing it, where we can actually wait until the bids come in, and then if the project only takes $53 million, then you only have to issue $53 million. So this would be financed over the course of a maximum of 22 years, no more than an $8 million payment per year, and the impact to the tax rate with with previous debt falling off is anticipated to be equal to the overall tax rate in budget year 2024 or less. So all that to say, no change in the tax rate anticipated as a result of issuing these. With that concludes the information to be shared, and Mr. Parks, I turn it back over to you to hear any comments from the community.
Yes, with that, yeah, because we are in a public hearing, we will offer up for public comment, voicing concerns or support of these projects. If you could state your name and as well, and address.
Most of you know me, but I will. I have some handouts too. There's 3 of them. My name is Melissa Gerard. I'm here tonight as a parent and a taxpayer. I have 3 children. 2 of them have already graduated Lebanon High School. My oldest son, Justin, graduated in 2015. My daughter graduated in 2019 with Mr. Bertrand and Mr. Parks' daughter. And I have a young one who will be a freshman this year. When my older, and I will start my comments by saying I have always been a proponent of Lebanon schools. My son was valedictorian and a Lilly Scholar, and my daughter also went to college on full academic scholarships. I have formerly been a lawyer. I've closed my law practice. Now I do full-time zoning and entitlements for Pulte Homes. I've had occasion in the past to consult with the sales teams at both Bridal Oaks and Cardinal Point. And, one of the things they ask me is, people come in and ask them, is this Zionsville or Lebanon schools? And I said, I think it depends on what you make of it. I said, I will pit my son's credentials against the best of the best that Zionsville has to offer. And I actually offered them a video that Joe LePage produced on behalf of the city of Lebanon about Justin's academic accomplishments while at Lebanon High School. And they said, oh, this is very helpful, this is very nice. So that is being circulated as a public relations thing among the sales offices at Bridal Oaks and Cardinal Point. However, I will say STEM education and technology is my hot button issue. I'm a big proponent of it, and I think, and I'm here on the capital improvements. I'm not here to talk about the capital improvements per se, but I'm here to talk about the technology aspect of this improvement plan. When Mr. Bertrand went to high school and when Mr. Parks' daughter went to high school, we had school-issued laptop computers in the high school. Eventually that went down to the middle school as well. They got the used ones from the high school, but at some point we stopped using those in the middle school. My youngest son has been using an iPad in middle school. We have complained repeatedly to Mr. Dunshee. It is a problem. That iPad does not have the kind of functionality that we need to prepare students to work in a college environment. They do not have Word on it. They operate in Pages. I don't know if any one of you has tried to write an essay or a report in Pages, but it does not have the functionality that a Word suite would have. I think I have recently learned that the intent for starting next year is to issue iPads instead of laptops at the high school level as well. We've been kind of dealing with this issue in the middle school thinking, you know, it's going to be over in a year, and we're going to get computers when he gets to high school. My son is 14 years old. He is 6'2". He has hands bigger than I do, much bigger actually. And I do not think that an iPad is appropriate both for long-term vision on the tiny screen, but also for typing on the keyboard. He is too big to be using that kind of equipment on a long-term basis. In addition, it would be nice if he learned how to use Word before he went to college instead of Pages. Now, I corresponded a little bit with Principal Meyer, and he said the iPad that they're using supports the Windows Suite, but he doesn't say they're actually going to have the Windows Suite, the same as my older son and daughter had. I did a survey, and I would say, you know, the first handout I gave you is from 2013 when Lebanon first rolled out their one-to-one student. We got a lot of publicity about that as a community because we were one of the first to start issuing computers to students at school. But now we're backtracking on that, and they're only going to have iPads. I have surveyed 22 communities or school corporations in the donut counties. Only 4 of them have iPad usage as opposed to laptop usage. And the majority of those that still have iPads allow a bring your own device policy to school. So that the parents that want to provide more, their students can use more. But I will say all of the communities, all the school districts in our communities have school-issued at the high school level laptops. I talked to Kyle Whiteley, the technology director at Western Boone, who incidentally has a son exactly the same age as mine, and they've played travel baseball together. And he says, we only use Dell Chromebooks. Zionsville uses Dell Chromebooks. I wasn't able to get a hold of Sheridan, so I don't know what they use. But the other 2 major school corporations in our community use Chromebooks. In fact, even though Zionsville has their own school-issued laptops, for the parents that want to do better, they have a bring your own device policy where the students can bring their own devices and access them at school, as does Carmel Clay. And there are a lot of them, but even though those 2 schools do issue laptops, they have a bring your own device if you want more or better. One thing that I would encourage you to do is to talk to Bill Rader, who is the technology director at Danville Schools, and I have his contact information if you want to talk to him. But he said Danville actually tried to institute, and this is almost a direct quote of what he told me, Danville actually tried to institute iPads at the high school level, and it didn't work. He said iPads are fine for the smaller kiddos, but they just don't work for the older students. And so they've gone back now to laptop computers in Danville High School. And he closed our conversation by inviting me to open enroll my son at Danville, which probably won't happen, but there are laptop computers as close as Western Boone as well. So I think that and I understand there's been some change in the state funding, but I think that the money in our bond issue would be a lot better spent on the technology for a long-term investment in our children than for repairs on a school that we're only going to continue to use for 1 more year. So I would encourage you to move around your budget a little bit and figure out how we can bring and I'm not a Mac fan, I'm not a big proponent of Macs, but it seemed to work okay. And another thing I wanted to mention, Jason, my 14-year-old, will be in AP Computer Science next year as a freshman. And how we expect him to do that on an iPad, I have no clue. I hope Mrs. Davis is coming back, but I'm sure it's going to be a big frustration for the kids in that class. So with that, I'd encourage you to either find a way to find the money to pay for iPads or not iPads, some sort of notebook, laptop, computer. Seems like most of the school corporations are using Dell Chromebooks. I would say there's probably 18 on my list that are using Dell Chromebooks. Or at the very least, Lebanon needs to institute a bring your own device policy to allow me to outfit my child with the appropriate technology that he needs for long-term success. So I'm just going to be upfront. I'm going to be continuing to press this issue at every board meeting until we get some sort of resolution on it. I think it's important as a community. We are sitting here in the home place of the new Lilly Tech Center and the LEAP District and the Purdue, and we want to position ourselves as a science and technology hub in central Indiana. And we cannot have our students in the lower quarter of all the donut counties in terms of our technology usage and the equipment we provide them. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
On the page that has the advertisement for the Michelob Ultra beer, is there another 8 pages to that?
Yes, but they were just a bunch of ads and stuff. I mean, you can go to the site. It's a video, and it's Fox 59.
Okay.
So you can click on the video.
Okay.
But it did have just a bunch of ads on the back, so I didn't want to use a bunch of paper. But you can go to that website and see it. There was another one from the Reporter, but I don't have the online subscription from the Reporter, but I can forward the link if anyone does. So.
I heard you say a facility that we're only going to use for one more year. I just want to clarify, can you?
I thought we were going to not use Central anymore, and we were moving to the new Central, which is kind of across the street, basically, from my house.
Sure. The existing Central is being refitted
Repurposed.
to be a preschool and offices perpetually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, I mean,
Sure.
I think there are other priorities, I think, that I value this technology and STEM investment a lot higher than I probably would value some of the extracurricular investments or the sports investments. It's important. It's important to our community and our success as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other public comments? These bond issuances are going to be for how long?
The maximum payment term of any series is 20 years, but overall 22 years.
So the
would
assets
be
that we
the-
purchase with it have to exceed that time, correct? Typically.
Have to.
On average, we got to.
Their legacy.
Yes.
Sure, yes.
You're not going to borrow for 20 years, something that's going to be
No, these
only
are-
last 4 or 5 years, right?
Well, the buses are amortized so that they're
Correct.
paid off
Yeah.
in the early
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But yes, no, all the school facilities are 50-year facilities plus.
Good deal. Any other questions? With that, we will close the public hearing portion of the meeting and move on to item number 3 of the regular of the special meeting, consent agenda staff matters. Dr.
Thank
Millman.
you, Mr. Parks. Thank you to the board for giving a superintendent authority to hire in these summer months. But since we're meeting today, I thought we'd make official the recommendations to you for some positions this evening. It's under classified, asking for approval of the resignations of numbers 589 and 590 and the termination of number 591. And under certified this evening, temporary teacher for a leave of absence coverage number 180, new hires 181 through 191, and resignations 192 and 193.
With that, background notes include all that information as well. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda, classified, certified, and ECA as read?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Hendricks, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Clauser, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have election of board secretary, because Mrs. Jones has stepped aside. Or stepped down. We need to backfill the role of the secretary. And with that, do we have any nominations?
I would like to nominate Mr. Clauser for the role of secretary.
Mr. Clauser, do you accept that nomination?
Yep, I'll accept the nomination.
Do we have to motion and second that, or? Good? Yeah. Well, I mean, but to vote, I mean, to nominate, though.
Closed
To
nomination.
close the nominations, though?
There's only
Yeah.
one nomination to do
Yeah.
an acclamation.
Well, all right. So with that, then, do we have a second to approve?
I'll second that.
Or actually, do we have a motion to make him?
I make the motion.
Motion, second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? As clunky as it may be. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Next, we do have a upcoming board meeting next Tuesday, the regular board meeting, right here at 7 PM.
Thank you. I do have a additional item
Okay.
to just bring to the board's attention, anyone who may be viewing the board meeting this evening. I'll talk again about it at Tuesdays. I'd make a little bit off the beaten path, so to speak, topic. Board may recall in some of my notes to the board, we'll be renovating as part of our elementary renovations, Hattie B. Stokes Elementary. And part of that renovation will include the main entrance to the building, the offices of the building. We'll be adding a large group instruction area and presentation area in the main atrium of the building. And as I'd shared with the board in the past, in 2003, a group of teachers raised some funds because there was a reading unit that included Laura Ingalls Wilder readings and readings from that era of the settlers. And they were able to get a covered wagon of full size that was placed in the main atrium of Hattie B. Stokes. That will be a renovated space. We're talking about some, again, presentation spaces with some platforms and video capabilities for our students. So it's going to require the retirement of that. It's not that we don't continue to read books from that era. Those are still in our media center today, and obviously our history is important. However, that's been there for 20 years and doesn't have a direct tie to a unit that's currently being taught. So I've been working very diligently to find a home that made sense. I've reached out to some of the historical areas and groups within our community, but was very fortunate to have a conversation with a group in Rushville, Indiana. It's called Equa Ventures, and it is an equine therapy program for students with special needs. There's a lot of research around that, and some of you may be aware of special needs children. It could be any need, cognitive delays, physical disabilities, autism spectrum students that benefit from equine therapy. It's quite a neat operation that they have. They have indicated they would be thrilled to have that as part of their program for these special needs students. And so we do have someone who is interested in that. However, if there is someone in the community that wishes to reach out to my office with a desire to purchase the item, I would entertain that conversation. So I'm going to bring it up this meeting and next meeting, but know that we do have someone on the horizon there, should there not be someone from the community that has a need or desire for that. But I want to give our Lebanon community opportunity to gesture that they may have a need for it as well. So just putting that out there publicly once. I'll do it again next Tuesday, and then we may move forward with the group that we have connected with. So thank
Sounds
you for
like
giving
an
me that
excellent
platform.
repurpose, though.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it would be a great thing to be able to help the students in their therapy. So I'm glad to report we do have a nice landing spot should there be nobody in the community. So
Excellent. Thank you. With that, we will be adjourned.
thank you.